Hey everyone, it is Larry here at LC Model Shipbuilding. So we're into part 12 of the build for the RC controlled Trumpeter Titanic. And as I was going through creating this video, I realized that it was going to be way too long. So about midway through where I was filming this whole segment, I end up kind of splitting it because otherwise it was going to be well over 2 hours, which I don't think anybody would ever sit and watch for that kind of time. So when we arrive at that point, I'll kind of, you'll know because I'm going to come back on and tell you that we got way long. So anyway, the goal was originally to try to get all of the poop deck details, all the cranes, the railings, basically everything installed on this episode. But yep, that couldn't happen in a short enough time frame. So here we go. Okay, so here we are. First thing I wanted to do was test out the under poop deck lighting, and there they are. They are toned down a little bit with some yellow paint over them to try to get more of a period correct look. I don't know if it's too orange or not. Turn off the light a second, then you can kind of get an idea. I think it's pretty good, but that obviously started to kill the power. So, I don't know. I'll kind of experiment around with it more as we go, but so far I think I like it, so I'm going to probably roll with it. All right, so what we're going to work on now, first we're going to put our crane towers on, probably both cranes, and then get our bases on. And in the meantime, I'm going to take the next set of bollards and other deck pieces that go throughout here. Ideally, I want to get our docking bridge on and basically button down most of the poop deck, because I'd like to be able to kind of walk away from this and say it's done, aside from essentially railing. But that's kind of what the goal is for this video. So let me get the lights turned off and start working on the cranes here a little bit. Okay, here we are with our cranes. These are China 3D, but I'm using the directions from KA. So I just have them in front of me. So first thing we're going to do, I'm just putting a little bit of a wash on here to bring out some of the detail a little bit on the crane. Then I'm going to wipe it, because I'm not trying to make it black per se. I just want a little of those details to kind of pop a little bit more. Yeah, that'll work. And that's just basically a black paint with a lot of water. I don't have an exact measurement in what I did. I just kind of went until it was a lot of water. Okay, so we'll hit those quick. Got 2 more to go. I'm not doing all 4 right now, or all 6, 8. How many are there? There's 8 total. I'm only doing the poop deck and the well deck, so the front will be, the bow ones will still be later, and the ones up on B deck, I want to say, B deck. Okay. All right, so there we go. A little bit of detail in there. Now, on these, they have the foot pedal and the crane like hand controls that are on here. So those I'm just going to hit with a tiny touch of black. And for that I'm using NATO black, which I've been using NATO black for most of the deck details. Just looks good. It's not too black. That bottle's almost empty. Okay, so hit that quick. And the foot pedal is down here. Unfortunately, I broke the handles, not the handles, but the railing posts on 2 of these, so I'm going to end up doing something with a piece of photo etch basically to repair it. These are very fragile, so just be mindful of that. Or maybe I don't have to use photo, it will be photo etch, but I can use the KA pieces to replace them. But these had the holes already in them. I haven't looked at the KA pieces yet to check if they do. I'm sure they probably do, but I need to replace that one right there and the middle one right here. So shouldn't be too big of a deal, but yeah, fragile. I don't think they were Italian, but you know. All right, there we go. So that is those. And that really is about all the detail that I really need to go on them. I'm not putting the ropes on right now, I don't think. I don't know, maybe we will. Just because it may become exceedingly hard once it's mounted on the ship. Oh, that goes there. Okay. So let me pull the right page on the instructions for the cranes a minute. I got a little smarter and put these into sleeves just because it was getting increasingly difficult to use this. Okay, so the KA one comes completely as one piece of railing all the way around, where these are not. So yeah, what we're gonna do, I'm actually gonna use a very small thin rope, and this is if you watched the Constitution build, this is the same string that I used for the not crow's nest, the rat lines on the on the rigging for the mast. So it's a very, very thin string. Just trying to tie onto that little post there. I'll do the other ones off camera because obviously this will get kind of boring to see me do the exact same thing 4 times. And it's going to fall off. All right, so we're going to have to KA that, or CA that. No biggie. I had a feeling that was going to happen. So what I'm actually going to do is pre-thread this one. If I can get through. Yep, I'm through. Okay. And then I want to try to get through this one, because once I get through that one, I then can CA glue the end of it into the rail point. Or, better yet, yeah, I know what I'll do once I get through it. if I can get through it. These are extremely tiny and fragile. Let's see if I can get a better view for you if I, yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to get it through that little post there, and a little trick I'm going to try to do is actually cut the rope at an angle so it has a little point to it. We'll see if that helps at all. It may have gotten filled with paint in all reality, because that hole is just so small. I'm scared to even try to poke it with a pin, because I don't know if the pin would actually be thicker than the rail piece. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. Because how small and tiny that is, I'm just going to end up CA gluing the very tip of the string. Hopefully that's on there enough. And we're going to put it into the hole where it should go. Yeah, that worked. Until I pulled it out. Okay, we're going to do that again. That's the idea, though. Okay. And what I think I'm going to do, rather than force that to go too quick, I'm going to cut this one and start the next one. That will give that a minute to set up without me messing with it. Oh, that one went right through. So did that. Okay, so how I'm going to handle this one, that one's just slightly bent, but okay. What I want to do is just tie a little knot here. Just like that. I'm going to dip that in CA glue. And then I'm going to cut the end of it off. Okay, we're going to pull that through, and there we go. And then that will tie onto that one. But I'm going to let that set up for a minute. So let me go ahead and get these done, and I will figure out what I'm doing with these two quick off camera, and then I'll explain it when I get back. So we'll be right back. Okay, so I just cut off my crane arms from the sprue. This is the flexible sprue. Obviously I cut the crane arms all already, but you can see it is pretty good and flexible. So that is helpful when it comes to not damaging them. Now I'm just kind of cleaning up the back side of it before I paint. So what I'm going to do for painting these is just drop it in a piece of putty or blue tack, whatever you want to call it, and an airbrush from there. So I'll kind of stab them in onto the top like that, and then I'll just have to touch up paint the base a little bit, but nothing major. So yeah, that's those. I did go ahead and mount the two crane sections onto the well deck side, so I'll show you them real quick. And they're on. This one's not on there yet. I just have it sitting there because I got to paint the bottom side. But yeah, that's how they turned out, and they look real good. You got your railing right there, as you can see. I got the little foot and hand control with black on it, and I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these ready to paint, and we'll be back. Okay, well, while I'm waiting for the crane arms to dry, I got these here ready. They'll go here and on the other one respectively. I'm waiting on actually installing them because I'm going to do the I have the photo etch lines that would come down to the booms. They're drying right now. I did end up just brush painting those, and they'll be fine. I just need them to dry up, and then we'll get them on. Those are the KA pieces. So in the meantime, I'm going to move on to some of the other deck fittings. So first, I'm just breaking the sprues off on this. This is another China 3D piece right here. So we're gonna get these painted up, and these are the little hatch buildings that go right there on the poop deck. So I just want to try to break them off so I can keep the rest of the sprue intact, I'm hoping. Or not, but that's okay. Okay, so we'll get this one painted, and then we have the other two buildings right here that need to get painted up as well. And those are ship wheels right there, so I'll keep them with the other piece. And we have a bigger building and a smaller building, so those are right here. So I do believe they get painted white. I want to double check that, but I'm 99% sure. I'm going to put this somewhere where I don't lose it, and then I'll just trim up this one to be pretty, and then we'll go ahead and paint this with the airbrush. So I got that ready, and yeah, so we'll get those sprayed, and then in the meantime, while that's happening, we're gonna put some of our capstans and ballards and all that good stuff on. So, and we have a winch that also goes right over here. Little trick for painting, I do this, and I also will take a sprue with an alligator clip, and that holds that on. And then sometimes I also use putty, but anyway, just throwing that out there because that's still on the sprue right now, or on the popsicle stick. But let me paint these real quick while they're drying, then we'll start putting some of this stuff on in the video. So I'll be right back. Okay, so first up, we're going to, while we're waiting for those to dry, we're going to do a little bit of detailing on the steam winch here. So I've seen a lot of pictures where they look like they're just solid green, and then I've seen other pictures where around the drum they kind of have a darker grayish look right in here. So I'm going with that just to give it a little bit of contrast. And for that, I'm just actually using the NATO black again. It works pretty good on that type of thing. So, and I don't want to make it overly gray. I'm just kind of touching at it. Might as well do another one or two. Just because they'll all have to get done anyhow. But I only need one right now. Okay, well that gives me a few to work on anyway. To work with, I mean. Alright, so we're going to let them dry for a minute. Then, we removed a whole bunch of detail work along the hull or the deck here when we put the scale decks down. So I'm going to replace these with our China 3D pieces. I need actually only 2 more bollards because I put 2 on already, just because I had cut them, or 4 on already because I had cut them off on accident when I was putting the other ones on for the well deck. Okay, so there we go. That one's good. And we need 1 more of the larger ones. I've been trying to keep these pieces on the sprue as much as possible, just so I don't lose them, basically. And it's been working out for the most part. Once in a while I'll break the sprue, or the whole piece, but not too often. So far it's been good. And all of these are also painted with NATO black, just a FYI. They do have a detail on the tops up here that was brass on the KA set, so I'll probably end up painting that brass. I just haven't yet, obviously. I'm going to tighten that a little bit. Sorry, my hot knife also doubles as a wood burner and a plastic welder, and I had to do some plastic welding on a car today, so it was kind of taken off. Okay, so we need 2 of these. Which the other one's down there. I got a double, which I'll need. Yeah, I'm basically gonna need everything, the whole half. So I'm just gonna cut that down. This is why you don't do that. I just broke that. I'll be able to fix it, but use the hot knife. Stuff is brittle. Okay, so gotta repair this one quick. That fell down on the floor. I'm gonna come back to that one just so I can go down and get it. I see exactly where it is, so no big deal. Okay. There we go. We got just a couple more to go. Then we'll glue these back on. molding's mostly off, so I'll just cut it from here. Okay, now we got the bigger ones. All right. And these are all coming out very nice. I like them. There's a lot more detail to them than the original Trumpeter molding. So, I didn't really show them up that close. There you can see the tops have the little brass, that's supposed to be brass, those little stars. So, we will probably do that at some point here. Alright, that's ready. Let me clean up this, grab the broken piece and glue that on real quick, and then we'll start gluing our deck bits down. Oh, actually, because I was going to turn off the hot knife, let me get my winch too while we're here. Okay. Tiny bit of touch-up paint I'll need to do. Nothing major. Okay, be right back. Okay, so I got my piece back that I dropped, and it is glued and repaired. I touched up my little winch here, so that is good and how I want it. So first up, we're going to go ahead and put Mr. Winch on. Just a touch of CA glue. Is there enough there? Yeah. And that guy goes right here. Okay. Now something is deceiving my eye because this one is central. This guy is not a central winch, and I did not realize that till now. So, just an FYI, I don't got enough glue. Okay. So that's where I want that one. Alright, so these go in a 3-2-1 pattern. So 3, 2, 1. And they just really need, again, CA glue. I don't think I have enough on that paper there. Sorry if I was blocking, I just wanted to make sure that was right. Then we got a bollard. Okay. I'm not trying to go over this black line either. I do believe that is supposed to be a drainage trench. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Sometimes underneath you got just a tiny bit of sprue left over. You got to kind of scrape off with your fingers. Okay. And we got our one. Next up then after these will be our little tent buildings. That go here, here, and then those two cabins right there. Okay. So I'm not sure how filming is going to be over the next couple weeks here. I'm actually starting a new job tomorrow, which is kind of a big deal for me, and it will be requiring travel. I should be home pretty much every night, but will be a different role than what I was currently doing, so it's a promotion. I'm excited for that, and yeah, I think I'm really going to enjoy it, but definitely just going to be different until I figure out what my schedule looks like. So it might be better for modeling, might be worse, I don't know. I seem to get quite a bit of time to work as it is right now, so we'll see what this new role looks like, but it is what it is. So hopefully I'm able to continue moving in a similar speed and fashion as to what I have been. Ooh. Wait a minute, this one's backwards. I wondered why it wasn't quite fitting correctly. Wait a darn minute. No, it's not. I bet you I took one of the ones from the bow on accident. Okay. Yep. That's exactly what I did. Okay, so for anybody using the China 3D, just FYI, they are side specific for those 3 plate ones. I gotta turn the gun back on. I had turned it back off. That's okay though. So, I did not realize that. I did not realize that when I was cutting them out. Not a big deal, just, yeah, FYI. So what I'm going to do for that, so I don't lose it and don't forget about it by the time we get up to the bow, I'm just going to tape that piece onto it. Like that. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I'll go ahead and get that one glued on after I cut it out. You don't really need to see that. Then when we come back, we'll put the little buildings on here. And then it should be time to put the crane arms and the little ropes and all that good stuff. So I'll pause it and be right back. Okay, so I got my part back on there. Everything's good, no issues. And here are our little buildings. So they are, hatches go towards the back, so that goes basically right there. Now, they do have porthole windows in them, so I'm gathering they should be lit. I do want to double check that before I actually glue these down. I'm like 99% sure they get lit. So that should be as simple as drilling a hole underneath, just so light comes up from down below. Or I could also run some fiber optic up to it, which actually probably is the way to go, now that I'm thinking about it. And it's got some interior sprue in there, so I'll need to cut that out. And I need this bigger building right here, so we'll cut him off quick. And I need one of the smaller ones. Okay. So need to do a little bit of touch up on the side of this one. Now the KA kit includes little tent poles, and I'm going to see if I can conjunction them into this a little bit. Just to get that much more detail level. But what is nice about these, they have a very nice you know, look of basically canvas, so they look like they are, what they're made out of is canvas. Okay, now we'll cut this guy off. Okay, so I know for sure these two here are not lit, so there's no worries in putting them on. And that one just sits right there, essentially. So I'm trying to make sure I get the base covering that black just as good as possible. And if need be, I can always hit a little bit of tan with it, and that won't be a big deal. But I think I am going to try these tent poles with the KA stuff. Okay, now this, like I said, I want to go back and double check these to see if they are supposed to be lit, but being that they have a porthole in them, that would kind of tell me they are. So this is just removal of the interior sprue. Oh, sorry, I'm probably not in the camera shot. but they come right out. Okay, so they'll sit right there, just kind of idea of what it looks like. And yeah, pretty happy with that. They got some resin dust on them right now. Just got to clean that off. That's from cutting them, obviously, but it's not sticking or anything like that. But yes, this is starting to shape up pretty nice. The detail is definitely pretty darn awesome. I was going to wait until basic completion of the model to start putting people on and doing minor details, but I think I'm not going to do that because I think I'd rather just get full 100% sub-assembly done and then move on to the next. So basically that would mean putting everything on all in one shot, which I'm starting to think that's going to be the better approach to go, because then I don't have to worry about, once the ship is together, I'm going to have a mast coming up here. Speaking of that, we need to put a pole in here on this second class entryway. There should be a mast pole going up there, and what I'm going to actually do is use the kit version of the mast, because I'm using the China 3D one, so I can just cut that down and that'll fit right in there perfect, and it should be about the right size. So yeah, like I was saying though, I think getting each individual piece on is going to be better, because the more pieces I have to worry about as the ship gets bigger and I have all in front of me, the more I have to worry about hitting something with a hand or whatever. And if I get it to a point that it's essentially one done subset, then basically it will just go onto the ship as it will once it's completely done and we're actually sailing. So it makes more sense in my head to get it all 100% to completion. So that being said, I'm thinking people are going to get painted up and put on, and all these little those vents. I can't think of the name. I actually have the vents for the back right now for the poop deck drying. I painted them. I did them when I did the buildings, but yeah, next up we're going to go ahead and put these together, I do believe. We'll get our photo etch ladder up on them, and all of our photo etch kind of comes across, and our little stanchions that hold them up. No, you know what though, before we do that, we're going to put our bollards on, or capstans, so they go here, 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 and here. So let me get them. I'm going to get them painted up and ready. I'm going to determine what I'm doing with these quick. Like I said, it's not a big deal to put fiber optic into them, and I think it's probably the best way to go. So let me pause it, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I did the first two cranes here. You can see with the KA rope, basically it comes down on here, and it has hooks that go down underneath here and attach to the crane. So I'm using the China 3D crane arms, which aren't exactly the same length as the KA arms. So here's the arms in comparison. They're very close, but not 100%. So slightly have to modify where I'm putting them. Not a big deal. To cut these, I'm just basically putting a white piece of paper behind it. I did pre-paint them. I didn't airbrush them. I just brush painted them because I figured I'd probably end up scratching them as I was putting them in. Surprisingly, not that bad though. So there won't be very much touch-up that needs to happen on them. But anyway, the white paper helps you to be able to cut them very easy, to be able to see where the sprue is attaching. And it's a fairly thin sprue, so not really too big of a deal. But what we're going to do is get these all cut out, and then you have the little base of the hook that gets glued onto it. But before you do that, you're going to have to drill a small hole in the end of the arm here, which I already did, just using a very small bit. You gotta clean up your little bit of sprue residue that you might have left over. And for this, they're just so thin and tiny that I don't want to risk trying to use a file on them, so just basically lining the nipper up on it and trying to get that just right, or using the knife. They might not come out exactly perfect, but they'll be close enough that once it's riding along the crane arm, you shouldn't be able to see any anyhow. But I still want to get it as close as I possibly can without cutting the line in half. So to slide these through, that's about as close as I'm going to get it, but to slide these through, your top has this part here, and you're just basically going to run it right through the hole that you drilled. Now, like I said, they are slightly shorter than the KA pieces, so what I've had to do with them is take it just a little bit farther, kind of unbend it a little bit, but take it a little bit further into the hole there, and then bend it down again. And what I'm trying to do is get it so that it follows that part there where it comes up, basically like that. So that'll work. So then, in your little bag of parts you get from KA, one of them anyway, you get these little pieces here that attach to the rope or cable. Yeah, cable was the word I was looking for earlier. And then your hook attaches to this after all that's said and done. So doing that, all I've done so far with the others is dip it into some CA right on the end there, and basically just hold it here for about 10 seconds or so the glue sets up. I could also spray it with some accelerator, but I only have one hand, or two hands I mean. Six. And I keep moving it. So I'm gonna try that again. I think I am gonna try some accelerator, just spray it ahead or near. And that's gonna work. Okay, so we'll let that set up for a couple minutes here, and then that one will get painted white, and this one's already ready, so that gets painted white. So I'm just brush painting these. They're down at the bottom, you can't see them, fairly small detail, so that's what we're doing. Okay. And next up, yeah, we can spread, or we can paint that one. The accelerator set up already, which is good. Okay, then after that, we're going to attach our hooks onto them and attach them to the crane base. Then from there, we can attach the crane towers and attach them to the poop deck. So the little hooks are right here. And they're very small also, as you'd probably expect. So usually probably use a photo etch bender, but these are so easy to bend, and you're only talking a 90-degree. Basically, I got my fold in half there already, so I'm just kind of hold it with the blade and bring it across, and voila, there we go. We got one, and now we just need number 2. Okay. And yeah, that worked. Now, I found that these tend to stay quicker than those heavier brass pieces that I was just dealing with. So, again, with these, I'm just going to dip them in the CA and attach them onto the end there. Oopsie. And then these will just get painted black. So I'm just going to put this right here, hold it for a few seconds, like that, and the same thing with this one. And these are very tiny, guys and gals, sorry. Try that again. Alright. So, while we wait for that, we're going to cut out our other pieces of the cabling. These come down from the tower to the boom, and basically are just like cutting the same thing as that center one that we just did. So I'm going to go cut all 4 of these off, and then I'll paint up my hook there, and then we'll come back and continue on final assembly of them. Okay, so here's the first one, and yeah, I got a tiny bit of touch-up to do on it, but not very much. Now, as you can see, they don't quite reach where they're supposed to. They're supposed to attach right here. So, tried it, didn't work, but it really is not that noticeable. If anybody really noticed, I could probably do a little piece of black right there and it would be perfectly fine. But the detail on them is just utterly fantastic. So, love these cranes. They look great, in my opinion anyway. So we're going to go ahead and put this one together. I'll just show you what I did real fast. I was really very worried going into these because I thought they were going to be a lot harder than they ended up being. And I've seen quite a few models that have attempted this and not made it. So my guess is they broke or cut the line and just kind of hope nobody noticed. But I don't know. I'm just trying to do my best with it, and I think it came out okay, so I'll take it. So first I just put a little bit of CA glue there, and I kind of hook onto the bottom of the beam right there. So that's first step. Then you're going to take a little bit of CA glue and put it right on the base of the crane, just like that. And we're going to take this guy and just put it on here, like that. Now, this, you can see, has kind of a round hook type thing on there. That will not work on the China 3D piece. So what I found to do there was actually a really simple, and it fit in perfectly fine. I just pick one of the two sides here where it would go and kind of just jam it up there with some CA glue. Hold it for a few seconds till it gets solid. Alright, now you notice it's not perfectly in the center yet, so I just kind of work it over a few minutes or a few times. And sometimes it comes out. Sometimes I gotta bend it a little bit, but the PE is fairly flexible, so no biggie. Okay. Try that again. Of course, the last one has to be a booger. Close. Closer. Alright, that's going to be close enough. Oh, one thing, I don't know if I showed it earlier in the video, and if I did, I apologize. These are the two greens that I used for, these were the bollards right here. That's the color number, and it's called Green Zinc Chrome. And then these are the winches, so that's flat green, and that's all I used on them. But I promised on the Facebook page that I would mention that. Alright, so back to this. So now I'm going to put them on its side, do a dip of CA right there, and right here. And then we're going to just take our little cable here and I'll hold it here for a second on the top, just kind of let that get to where it needs to solidify, and then drop it right down on the glue into the beam. Alright, there's that one. Don't like that bend. I'll have to play with that a little bit more, so that does not look the same as the others. And I knocked it off up there. want that to be right on that little thing there. Got it. But now these are too close. Part of it is that bend, so I'm going to push it down here a little bit. There we go. That got it closer. Okay. Do the other one. Same thing. And then later I'll go through and just touch up any of the black that needs it on the cables. It's only a few little tiny spots, so shouldn't be anything too major. And I'll also hit this with a the flat what do you call it? Flat spray. Okay. The other 3 of these I've done. I've not had to do this. Of course, it seems to be when I'm on camera. Alright, there we go. Now just gotta get that center one a little bit better. I don't like it. I'm going to cheat just a little bit. Put some CA there to hold it down. Okay, there we go. So, next up, we're going to glue our bases down onto the, or we're going to glue our towers down onto the bases. So, these guys just basically ride like this. So, put our first one on. I just want to make sure I got that pretty parallel. Okay. Alright, that's the cranes for the rear anyway, or the starboard anyway. No, not the starboard, good God, the stern. Poop deck. Alright, so next up, I'm going to check if these little buildings are dry yet, so we can go ahead and put our fiber optics in them. And then we got all these little vents that have to come up and get made, or glued on. And I have the poop deck supports all ready to go. So let me check where we're at and I will be back. Okay, so next up, or I already got one on here, but we're putting the fiber optic lights in for our porthole window spots. So again, just like I did in the previous video, we're putting a little bulb on our fiber optic. So it kind of gives it the effect that it's a bulb, or a window I mean, and it also ensures that it doesn't slip through once it's on here. So what I did then was drill 3 holes, basically 1, 2, 3, so they're in the general area of where these are going to need to pass through. And then I'm just sliding these through, and we're going to glue it down. Nothing too major. Okay. Now, this one is going to take a little bit of carefulness with the glue. CA glue does not like fiber optic, so we don't want to really touch it. So how I'm going to do this is slip the 2 pairs down the hole before I put the glue on. Then I'll put the glue on and I will clamp it. So we want our hatch sides pointing towards the back, and we're going to go down the hole that it would correspond to. Alright. And they'll pop out sometimes. So we try it again. Now on the bottom, after we get it glued, I'll end up cutting these shorter because they don't need to be that long. They just need to be long enough to reach where the light is coming in at. And since the whole bottom of the hole will be lit up, there should be plenty of light there. Alright, so now we're just going to run some CA along the bottom there. Oh good, I glued it to my paper. Being very careful not to touch the fiber optic. Okay, so that should be good. Now I just want to make sure I'm getting it in a straight area here. And I'm going to clamp it. Okay, so we'll let that sit for a couple minutes, and then I'll cut off the extra pieces at the bottom there, and those will be done. So next step after that is going to be our little steam winder type deals, and then we will probably do some benches and the docking bridge after that. Oh, and we have all of our cowl vents that have to go on yet too. I might actually do them before the benches because they'll kind of give me some reference point. So let me get them prepped and painted and get the docking bridge stuff ready. I can put the supports up on that at least as it is right now. And that's going to have a light in it too right here. So I did already paint those. So they are right here. And I do want to, like I said, put a light inside of this one near the door that's there. So I'm going to drill a hole to do that quick, and then yeah, we'll get these attached. So I'm going to need a hole going down through there. So I got to wait for that to finish setting up and drill a hole in the meantime. So we're right back. Okay, so while I was off camera here, I went ahead and put my vents on. They're all right there where they belong, and also got our steam cranking levers, whatever you want to call them. They're the China 3D ones, which are really well done. They even have the little handle on the top there. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's not really focusing enough to see it, but anyway, they're there. So next up is going to be the the docking bridge. So I went ahead and put our brass rods on here from the KA kit. So I'm going to paint the bottom white. Then I went ahead and drilled holes here, 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 and here, and then one up in the front there for our lighting, because we're going to light this up. And what my plan is to run the wires inside of here, well, not inside, but on top here, and then cover it with the scale decks. So I'll still paint the top black, I'm going to paint the bottom white, and then drill a hole up through here also. This is where the doorway to the inside there mounts on, and we'll run the wires up inside. So I'm going to go ahead and get that painted up a while, and in the meantime, after that's drying, probably start to do some benches. So I got to paint them up as well. I guess I got 2 more vents to do right up here, so I got to figure out which number they are. But poop deck is really coming around, so we're getting close on this part. Okay, so as I was going to edit this video up, I realized that it is way too long, so I'm going to have to split the poop deck into 2 separate videos. So this is the first one, and we will continue on with the next one, and hopefully, yeah, get it done into 2, because I was at 2 hours as I started editing, so that would never work, and I don't think anybody would watch it for that long. So anyway, here is this was part 1, so to be continued.